This is a night of holy encounter. This is the night we open up that story of God coming close. This is the night we tell that story again, not just because it's a good story, a great story in fact. We tell it again because each time, whether deep in our soul or right there at the edge of our awareness, we long to know that we are not alone. Tonight, the invitation is to step into the story. In other years, some of us might have done that by putting on costume, a merry blue dress, a shepherd's house coat, a wise one's regal robe, or even some animal costumes that helped us to take our place in the stable scene. This year, the invitation is to come as your own dear self. For we are, every last one of us, regardless of the state of our heart, our mind, our spirit, we are welcome. There is room, there is a desire, there is a word, as we'll see, for all people. The invitation is to come into the story as though we are setting off on a pilgrimage, on a journey. Maybe without really even knowing why. Maybe there's something about the road, the pilgrim way, that calls to us. Or maybe we've heard others who made the journey and returned to speak of it in a way that made us curious, envious perhaps, eager for our own experience. Or maybe there is grief that we are holding in our heart, in our body, or a question, a life question, that walking a pilgrim route that's been traveled by others for generations, somehow that makes sense as a way to offer up that question or that grief, to open ourselves up to guidance, to love. This is the thing about giving ourselves to the pilgrim's path. We may set out as though we are seeking something. And in our secret hearts is the prayer, this hope that we be found. One more thing about the pilgrim way. There are always others along the route, and behind every face is a soul at work. So the way is ripe for rich encounter. And we don't know who will be given to us along the way, whose word or wandering, whose presence will speak to us. This pilgrim way that we step into tonight holds all of this and more. Well, just a couple of things before we set off. For tonight at least, we will be letting our fingers do the walking, so to speak, in the same way that you found your way here right now. We'll be proceeding by stages, in our own time, at our own pace. So once you are ready to move on, you simply click the stepping stone, which will open up the next stage of the journey. There are 8 stages in all, and you will know when you've come to the end, for how else is there to conclude our gathering on Christmas Eve than to light a candle and sing Silent Night. So before you go any further, you might like to have a candle ready for that magical moment. And if you don't have one right there, you might just pause right now and go and retrieve that, so you'll have it at that time. In fact, you might like to take a moment now to create a candlelit space right where you are, for the way that somehow candlelight opens us to mystery and to wonder. And now finally, the last thing before we set off. Tradition has it that pilgrims would not set off on a journey without first receiving a blessing. A blessing that, while spoken in words, is more than words. The way a blessing carries an energy that accompanies you, that it might be felt along the way, a gentle presence like a feather on a shoulder, or the way a tender smile of a loved one lodges in the heart, there to be called on. So I invite you to take a breath or two and to allow your body, your mind, your spirit to welcome this blessing. May you follow truth wherever you find it, even if it takes you beyond your preconceived notions of God, of life. May you be guided, protected, strengthened every step of the way, that you may arrive safe and sound at the end of the road and return home filled with joy. May it be so.